Welcome back to the Contractor's Compass YouTube channel. Today we're taking a look at all the circular saws I own, or I should say most of the circular saws I own. I thought it'd be fun just to go through and look at all the different circular saws that I have and discuss what I like about them and what I don't like and which ones I use a lot and which ones end up sitting most of the time. So yeah, with further ado, let's get started. So getting started, we have my Porter Cable 6-inch plug-in circular saw. I personally don't really like this saw that much. It's heavy, it has a crappy, cheap stamped steel base, and I never use it anymore. It was given to me at one point. I don't even remember who gave it to me, but kind of a useless saw to have around, especially in the age of battery-powered tools where all the small circular saws can easily be battery-powered. This is my Makita 6.25-inch circular saw. This was my first battery-powered circular saw that I owned, and I absolutely love this saw. It's super light, runs for a super long time, has a super nice base that keeps true, and cuts fantastic. This saw is not even a brushless variant of the saw, but I absolutely love it. Cuts great. This is my go-to saw when framing or just around the job site. This is my Milwaukee Fuel brushless 6.25 circular saw. I got this one as a replacement for the Makita I just showed you after I switched over to Milwaukee. I personally don't think it is as good of a saw as the Makita 6.25-inch circular saw. Even being brushless, it has a little more power, but it is much heavier than the Makita and just less ergonomically inclined. It does have this rafter hook, which I really like, and makes it super convenient for hooking on things on the job site. The base is a similar design to the Makita, and is pretty good, but the Makita's is slightly better. One thing I particularly like better about the Makita's is the little notch is much better on the Makita than the Milwaukee. Overall, this saw is a pretty decent saw, but I've had tons of warranty issues with this. I've had to send this saw back twice to Milwaukee to get repaired. It keeps just dying on me. It won't spin up. I don't know what's the deal with the saw, but it's the only Milwaukee tool that I've had to send back to them. This is my rigid 7.25-inch corded circular saw. I threw the 7.25 in because it's a classic size that many people really like. I have several different 7.25s, including a Makita one, this one, and a old Porter Cable one. This is a great just all-around circular saw, but I honestly don't find myself using it very much because I either use my 8.25 or my 6.5. And for some reason, the 7.25 just gets neglected. This saw was given to me for free. It has a decent base, but it's not great. But for a free saw, it does pretty well. This is my Makita 8.25-inch circular saw, and it is one of my favorite saws. It has tons of power, super nice base, and just cuts through just about anything. It is magnesium construction, so it's decently lightweight, and it incorporates electronic brake, which is also really nice. I grab this saw when I'm working on larger projects. It's fantastic for timber framing and stuff of that sort. This is my Makita 10.25-inch circular saw. I love the saw. It's great for larger things. It can cut through a 4x4 in one pass. It's kind of like the scaled up version of the 8.25. One thing that I cannot stand about the saw is the dust port is constantly getting clogged up, and then it shoots dust straight up into your eye while you're cutting. That is my only complaint about the saw. Besides that, it is an excellent saw, especially for the size. It has a nice sturdy cast base on it, which makes it very nice for cutting with. This is my Makita 13-inch saw. This is a fairly rare saw, but it is great for timber framing and cutting larger pieces of wood. This was the predecessor to that 10.25-inch saw. It was my go-to saw for larger stuff before getting the 10.25-inch saw. This saw is very nice. I like all of Makita saws, but doesn't have quite as nice of a base and is slightly less refined than the 10.25-inch saw, which makes sense since it's older. Overall, I have 2 of these saws, and they are still one of my favorite saws. This is my Makita 16-inch circular saw. This is the largest, one of the largest, if not the largest circular saw on the market. This thing is a complete beast, and really I only pull it out for making end cuts on very large pieces of timber. Its size makes it a little bit unmanageable for working with, in my opinion. So I tend to gravitate towards a smaller saw. It also is a little unwieldy with its stamped steel base. So I really avoid using this one unless I have to. If I had to pick only 2 saws out of all the saws that I have, I would have to go with my Makita 10 1/4 inch saw, because that is fantastic for doing larger pieces of timber. And then I'd have to go with my Milwaukee 6.5 inch saw. While I think the Makita 6.5 inch saw is better than the Milwaukee 6.5 inch saw, I end up using the Milwaukee more just because that is the battery platform I use currently. I think that Milwaukee does a better job than Makita on a lot of its other tools, and that's why I switched over to the platform. But I think Makita definitely still has it in terms of saw design. Thank you for watching, and leave any comments or questions you have below.